Welcome back to French Around the World. Today, let's take a look at one of the smallest countries in Europe that not only borders France, but also has one of the largest percentages of French-speaking people in the world. With a population of 11.6 million people in the country that's just about the size of Maryland, USA, Belgium is one of the most French-influenced nations in the world. But all of that French culture didn't just materialize over time. Come with us to take an adventure and dive into Belgium's French history, culture, cuisine, and architecture. The northwestern European country is bordered by many other nations, including France, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and Germany, all of which have beautiful aspects of their heritage and their traditions, which are spread around the world. Along with this, Belgium is bordered by the North Sea, and its strategic geographical position made it a major battleground in 1815 and both of the World Wars. It was colonized and influenced many times over the last few centuries because of its bordering countries, and because of this, Brussels, the capital of Belgium, became the perfect spot for the UN and NATO headquarters. Now let's explore some of the history behind all of this French culture. Belgium is home to hundreds of different cultures and types of people, but the Belgian-French portion of the population generally resides in the southern region of the country, known as Wallonia. But how did the French end up in Belgium? Why do we see so much French influence in Belgium now? Why does 40% of the Belgian population speak French? Well, between the 1st century BC and the early 1900s, the Belgians were invaded by the Romans, the Germans, the Spanish, the Austrians, Napoleonic France, the Germans again and again until they were finally liberated by the British, Canadian, and American armies. This made Belgium a sort of center for commerce. Specifically, Brussels, Ghent, Bruges, and Antwerp became a crossroads where various nations exchanged, bought, and sold goods. Before 1794, Belgium was under the Austrian Netherlands and the Habsburg dynasty, but during the French Revolution, it was conquered by revolutionary troops and later remained under Napoleonic France's rule until 1815, when Napoleon's downfall allowed the Congress of Vienna to take over Belgian rule. The amount of colonization and changes in the country's lingual structure over such a short amount of time allowed Belgium to become an incredibly multilingual country. In terms of both culture and geography, Belgium is essentially divided into two main sections: Wallonia, the southern region, and Flanders, the northern region. 40% of the people in Belgium speak French, while 60% speak Belgian Dutch, and a small amount of the population also speak German and Luxembourgish. The people of Wallonia, better known as the Walloon people, are rich in culture. Their traditions include festivals, celebrations, foods, arts, and so much more. Although they are primarily Roman Catholic, many of their famous staple festivals and celebrations do not revolve around their religion, but rather their culture. One of the things that the Walloon people are known best for is the annual Beach Festival. Beach is a small town in the Walloon region of Belgium situated upon a hill. The town is surrounded by fortifications and a grand total of 27 towers, which were built in the 12th century. Later, in 1545, many of Walloon's fortifications fell in order to make a palace for Mary of Hungary, and in 1549, a grand fete was held to celebrate the Spanish conquest of Peru. Although the origins of the Beach Festival is uncertain as of now, many suspect that it could have started from the parade that she held. Now, a center for confectionery and the fashion industry, Beach is known for its famous carnival, otherwise known as the Shrove Tuesday Carnival. The staple events of the Beach Carnival is the appearance of the clown-like performers known as guilles. For the most part, these performers appear on Shrove Tuesday, or Mardi Gras in Belgian French, and are primarily characterized for their bright, bold costumes, wax masks, and wooden shoes. At any given time, from dawn to dusk on Shrove Tuesday, around 1,000 of these guilles can be seen. Ranging from 3 years old to 60 years old, guilles appear in the center of Beach to dance to the sound of traditional drums and ward off evil spirits with sticks. These guilles have also been known to throw oranges at people, since it's considered good luck to receive an orange from a guille, but from time to time, these clown-like performers have been known to throw the oranges at people, break windows, and injure spectators. Folklore is recognized by UNESCO as a masterpiece of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity, and Belgium is full of it. The term folklore is used in Belgium to denote all cultural events. Folklore plays a major part in Belgium's traditions and culture, with several parades and processions that have an originally religious and mythological background. Some examples are the Carnival of Beach, which we already went over, the 3-day Carnival of Aalst in February/March, which is celebrated annually preceding Ash Wednesday, the Procession of the Holy Blood, taking place in Bruges in May, a Catholic tradition that dates back to the Middle Ages, the Procession of Giants and Dragons, etc., etc. Several of these traditions also include sporting competitions, and they also have a sort of early Christmas called St. Nicholas Day, where it works essentially the same as our Christmas, which is actually where we got the tradition. Belgian immigrants transferred the tradition over to the US, where St. Nicholas is known as Santa Claus. You'd be surprised to know how many things come from Belgium. Belgium may not be the first country you think of when it comes to arts and architecture, but don't be fooled. The architectural styles that can be found in Belgium not only display the nation's history, but also its hundreds of well-known artists and designers. Belgian architecture is greatly influenced by French styles, and one of the most prominent design styles you see in large historical buildings is neoclassical. Neoclassical architecture is characterized by its simplicity when seen from afar, but when you observe the actual architecture, the Greek and Roman inspiration for detailing is very visible. In neoclassical architecture, you often see large columns and other features similar to those in ancient Roman and Greek buildings. Neoclassicism originated in the 1750s when the French and the British discovered various ancient Greek and Roman buildings, including those found after the excavation of Pompeii and the discovery of the Parthenon. Due to the significant amount of French influence in Belgium from the early 1800s and late 1700s, French architectural styles and French artists began to shift into Belgian culture. One example of this is the Chateau Gavagrat, made by J.J. Dutry in 1807. The castle's mix of Empire and Neoclassical style architecture, both of which you can find in its grandeur scale, large, highlighted columns, and the general shape and format of the castle itself. Today we can see a neoclassical architecture throughout Belgium as just another mark the French left on Belgian culture. And now, let's dive into one of the things that Belgium is known best for: French fries. Moules frites is a dish that originated from the 18th century and is a staple dish in Belgium. The dish consists of cooked mussels and French fries. The side, instead of being ketchup, is either mayonnaise or aioli, both of which are quite similar. Mussels were prepared in Belgian homes, especially during the winter when there was a shortage of fish. And since mussels were plentiful across the North Sea, they were quite an affordable alternative to fish, and they were quickly adopted by many Belgians. Even though over 60,000 tons of mussels are consumed every year in Belgium, none of it actually originates in Belgium, and all of it is imported from the rocky shores of the Zeeland Islands in the Netherlands. If this is true, then how did the Belgians crave for mussels start? This is all thanks to the Willebroek Canal, made in 1561, connecting Brussels, River Scheldt, Antwerp, and finally the North Sea, allowing fresh mussels to be brought into Belgium daily. What was once considered to be poor man's meat is now sometimes referred to as black gold because of the demand for it. Brussels waffles seem to be a dish that originated from the 1600s, the word waffle popping up. However, the first actual mention of Brussels waffles was in 1874. Brussels waffles are most commonly confused with Belgian waffles, which technically don't exist, as there are two types of waffles that come from Belgium: Liège waffles and Brussels waffles. The main difference being that Brussels waffles are lighter and more shaped than Liège waffles. Brussels waffles have quite a simple recipe, but what gives them their distinction is pearl sugar. Brussels waffles are most commonly topped with chocolate, whipped cream, or strawberries, but traditionally, you only need a dusting of powdered sugar to enjoy them. The Belgians are known for their ability to have fun and party. One beverage that many relate to this is, of course, beer. Beer is the most widely consumed alcoholic beverage and is one of the most widely known drinks globally. Belgian beer was actually made long before Belgium actually became an independent country. At the time, the Flemish would brew beer to make money, and it would work because most people would drink beer because drinking water was extremely unsanitary. There are two main types of Belgian beers, which are Trappist beers and Abbey beers. Both of these types of beers have to be affiliated with monasteries. Trappist beer being more closely associated with monasteries, and Abbey beer is not as associated with monasteries and has a more relaxed construction. The most famous type of beer glass that is used is tulip glasses, which help give the beer a special aroma by trapping the aroma inside. With their 261 breweries and over 1,500 types of beer, it only makes sense that they would cram it into their traditions. The average Belgian drinks 250 glasses of beer a year, and each beer has its own special glassware. No one beats Belgium when it comes to beer. Paling in het groen is a traditional dish that translates into eels in the green, and that's essentially what it is. Eel in really green sauce. Fishermen used to catch eels at the Scheldt River, which is between Antwerp and Dendermonde, and they then decided to prepare the eel with any of the fresh herbs they found around the river. Those included chervil, sorrel, parsley, mint, watercress, basil, and thyme. But however, these are only added at the very last minute to keep the green as vibrant as it is. And this dish is usually enjoyed with frites or bread. It has a very zesty taste, but it's also a bit bitter coming from smoking the eel beforehand. So, whether you'd like to guzzle beer in Brussels or get pelted by oranges in the Carnival of Beans, we hope that a visit to the scenic country of Belgium will be near. And thank you for watching this episode of French Around the World.